All right, if you're just joining us, we're going to get started momentarily. We're just waiting, giving everybody some time to kind of go on ahead and join us, and just give us a moment. It looks like we are now live on YouTube, or at least I hope so. Looks like we are live on YouTube and LinkedIn. So if you are just joining us on YouTube or LinkedIn, thanks so much for being here. We're going to get started in just a moment, maybe a minute or two, give everybody an opportunity to join our time together today. And if you have any questions during this time, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I'm going to root through what myDevices offers, and then any questions that you may have, I'll be able to answer either live or post. I'm really curious to hear about what kinds of projects you guys are working on, so feel free to drop those in the chat as well. That may help me to customize things a bit. While we're waiting for some others to join, I would love to hear about actually where everybody is watching from. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. Our company is based in California, so I know we probably have some people watching out in California, but I really love to see how far we're reaching. So go ahead and drop in the chat and let us know where you're watching from today, or if it's really cold there or not. But it is already getting cold here in Atlanta. I'd love to hear a little bit more about where everybody's at today. We'll do it just another minute or two before we get started. Oh, wow. Jeff, you're in Canada. Snow on the ground there. Oof. I don't envy that. It's really, it sounds pretty cold. But I imagine in just a few weeks, we might be in the same boat with you out there. But thanks so much for joining, Jeff. Really appreciate it. I'd love to, if you have any IoT projects that you're working on, any use cases in mind, go ahead and drop those in the chat as well. That may help me to frame this conversation a bit. That way I can be as useful to all of you as possible. So feel free to drop those in the chat as well. Give it another minute or so before we get started. And just to provide a quick introduction to myself, where I wanted to, so I'm going to go ahead and get started here. But my name is Alex Martinez. I'm an account executive here with myDevices. I came to myDevices through the wireless space, and my first experience with IoT was seeing what a temperature sensor could do at a Chick-fil-A deployment that my husband did. I was really interested at that point in learning more, and I started to realize, especially when I started working here, that there are so many endless opportunities within the realm of IoT. So we're going to really spend time, during the days, reviewing a little bit more about our business, giving you a peek of where we fit in the IoT space. And I'll go ahead and share my screen. And then, like I said earlier, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. We're going to spend a lot of time, or you'll spend a lot of time hearing from me, but I think it's more helpful when I'm hearing from you. That way I can navigate the conversation a bit. And give me a moment here. I'm trying to share the screen, but Zoom is being kind of funky with me. There we go. Perfect. So just to give you a little bit of background on our company, if you're just joining us and you're not familiar with myDevices, we were founded in 2013 and we launched our platform in 2015. We started very much early on in the early infancies of IoT. We actually stemmed off of another company in Paris called Clarinova, so we've been around for quite some time. And our primary investor is a company called Semtech. They are the inventors of LoRa technology, so we've got a great relationship with them. We are a very LoRa-centric environment, but we are a very multi-protocol company as well. So Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, really anything that you're looking for, we're really able to assist with. We're headquartered in Burbank, California, but at this point, we really are, we're stemming out. We've branched out tremendously. We still have an additional office in Paris. And then we're doing deployments in South Africa, Australia, really anywhere that IoT is going. We're working with some of the largest companies that are implementing IoT solutions today. So you have companies like Airmark and Sodexo. And so we have this ability to work on a very large scale, but then we also enable some smaller system integrator companies. And, so really big, small, and anywhere in between, we're doing worldwide deployments with all of these companies. And for the business model and how we go to market, or at least a complete business end-to-end overview, it's a complete end-to-end IoT platform that we built. The way we do this is really by unblocking IoT. I personally think it's better to say simplifying IoT, but when we approached IoT, we realized that there was this huge barrier to entry. And what I mean by that is really, everything that's required to make an IoT deployment successful. So you have things like mobile applications, or you've got integrations and ordering hardware when there are hundreds of thousands at this point of different vendor options. or different APIs that you have to manage on every single sensor in order to integrate those devices into a platform. Our goal is to take this full circle, what we call the first mile of IoT, and bundle it into a single offering enablement for faster time to market, reduce costs, and reduce risk. And so the first way we do that is we've got our online store, where we've got now close to 1,400 sensors on this store from over 300 different manufacturers, and we've aggregated these all into one place. So we become, one single source of hardware acquisition for you, and we warehouse these sensors and inventory them ourselves. We're managing all the pick, pack, shipping, and provisioning of the sensors. And essentially, you can come to us instead of having to go to one of these manufacturers. Generally, if you need let's say you need a temperature or humidity sensor, you can go to Dragino, which is a great company, and you purchase the sensor, this one right here, and this is all you're going to get. It's not going to do anything, right? So now you've got to do a lot of back-end work to make this work. You have to do the provisioning of the sensor. You have to do the configuring of the sensor. You have to get all that data going into an IoT platform. Now, if you come to us, we do the pre-provisioning and the pre-configuring before it routes to you or to your clients. So essentially, it's a plug-and-play solution, and we're becoming one vendor where we're expediting this process for you so that you can get hardware from us. We're providing software, help with installation, integrations into any Apple platform, and we're giving you all of these pieces immediately so that you can go to market and start deploying and selling these services immediately. What allows us to do that is offering streamlined IoT enablement for companies like yours, where we're providing software, integrations, hardware, and then support, really everything that you're going to need to go to market with IoT deployments. So all of these sensors are kind of come plug and play ready. You scan the QR code on them, and then you can use our platform to visualize this data. And so just to show you how simple it is to use, if you needed to add a device, you can click in Add Device here. You're going to go ahead and scan the QR code. Now you can go ahead and name your device, and immediately it's going to drop in to this list view here. And this becomes your product that you can take to market with your clients. And it's truly just one of the ways you can go to market, but you can white label this with your logo and your own colors, and it would sit on your own domain. So it essentially, like I said, it becomes your product. And then you've got all these different dashboards to visualize the data. So you can click in on map view and click in and see what sensors are operating at a location. You can look at asset tracking. We can look at things like temperature monitoring or occupancy, even desk occupancy on site. We can look at things like predictive maintenance or vibration monitoring. We've even got water usage and electric sub-metering. So there's all these different ways to visualize this data, and then you have additional tools and features that make this extremely customizable for you. So you can go in if you wanted to, get an alert sent out after a reading that you received on a sensor, you can schedule an alert. So this is a simulated device tracking a third floor toilet right now, but let's say this went into 46 gallons, you might want to add an alert that someone is notified. So what we can do is we can go in and customize how you receive those alerts. You can add different rules and say, hey, maybe we don't want to be alerted at night when no one's at the property. Or maybe I only want to be alerted when the sensor gives 2 or 3 readings that I know something's really wrong. So we can go ahead now, add that rule, and then add different recipients and say, hey, I want Valerie and Mike to receive a text message and an email. And I'm going to put something simple in here, like turn off the water. But like I said, this is all just customizable. So now that's going to get sent out. And now you can also create custom workflows in the responses. So now you've got all your guidances, all your corrective actions, all in there for your own, so that you have all that historic data and that you have guidance on what needs to happen, once one of these sensors gives you an alert. We can even look at sensor maps. So this is great if you are looking at a use case like asset tracking, or if you are looking into, solutions where you're tracking people on site. We build these custom sensor maps so you can see sensors as they're moving live across the location. And it's just another customizable feature that really broadens this application. You can even look at reporting. So we have integrations in Power BI reporting as well. So you can click in and see, create new reports. You can do your weekly, your daily, your monthly reports that need to go out. And then another feature that I think is probably one of my favorite is we have a custom dashboard tool that we created. And a lot of times if you have a client who's coming in and maybe they want to build their own dashboard to only see the data that they're really looking for, they can go into this custom dashboard tool. What we've added here is a widget library so that they can click in now and go ahead and just drag and drop the data anywhere they want this to go. And so now this can even be sent out. So you can send it out to your team here. And then there's also additional multi-tenancy layers in this application for how they view the application. So you can go ahead and say, hey, maybe I want to add a new contact in for one of your new clients. And maybe you only want them to have certain permissions into how they view this application. So you can say, all right, I want Valerie to have access to Valerie, that just seems to be the common name I'm using, but maybe you only want her to have access to the West Coast locations on a restaurant. And maybe you only want her to have viewing accesses, or you want to open it a bit up more and give her editing capabilities in the application. So just another way that this application can all be customized. And like I said, it's really just one of the ways you can go to market. Another way is, once you've got these sensors up and running, you may want this data to go into a work ticketing system. You may want it to go into a building management system. And so you can easily do that in the app with the integrations capabilities. We've got integrations into any third-party app or platform like Azure, Google Cloud, or even custom integrations through REST APIs and custom webhooks. The key part about our integrations is that we're a single integration that makes any app or platform compatible with thousands of sensors. So instead of integrating every single sensor individually with the platform, you integrate the myDevices set of APIs, and now that platform is instantly compatible with thousands of sensors. And just to maybe, this might be helpful, and I'll drop the link on this in the chat. This is our docs page here. And you can click into our API documentations and look at our integrations here. We've got one-click integrations into AWS, Azure, Google, and QTT. So we provide all this access and instruction to you. And then, maybe also to give a quick example, there's multiple ways to integrate the data where you need it to go on your side so that you can enable all of this inside of your own application. But this is a company you work with called Safety Culture. They are in Australia, and they have this app called iAuditor, and it's a concept of inspection checklist. And so they reached out to us because a lot of their clients started requesting to use sensors to automate their inspection checklist. And so now at this point, they're offering automated monitoring sensors and devices. And so we empower this entire strategy for them. Their customers can go into iAuditor, they can purchase sensors from iAuditor, and now it's fulfilled by us, it's shipped by us, it's configured by us. Everything's flowing from us directly to their customer. Of course, they don't see us on the back end of that, but they're still going to scan in those sensors and the QR codes into the iAuditor app. And now it's instantly going to connect to those inspection checklists. And now we're going to start to populate data automatically. Another company that we work with is Aramark, which they have a huge global presence. They're generally known for clothing, but in this use case, they were looking to do smart restrooms. So their goal was to look into people counting so that they could optimize their maintenance requests. And so their goal was to say, hey, let's see, we put a sensor on the door, see how many times this door has been opened and closed. Are there occupancy sensors that can tell us how long people are spending in the restrooms? And so this is going to help them improve their efficiency tremendously. So now they can say, okay, maybe we were sending people in every 2 hours to clean, when we really should have only been sending people every 4 hours to clean, depending on, maybe door counts of how long or how long people are spending in these restrooms. But again, this entire app that they've developed is powered by our APIs underneath. And now we're also doing the fulfillment. We're training their salespeople on how to prospect on these types of opportunities and how to deploy. So all that to say, we're providing that full circle of enablement. And then these front ends that we provide to you now speak back to the backend console that we also provide to you. So we provide you with a backend console, and this is going to be your administrative portal to manage your business. You will also be able to manage your customers and your technology. So you can do your bulk provisioning from here. You can do your payload codecs from here. You can manage your orders from here as well, and track your orders. You begin to look at all your order statuses. So we provide this tool to you as an administrative tool, and of course your clients don't see this, but this is something that we provide for you to use on your end of the business. And then another way that we're really doing the heavy lifting that I see here is the storing and logistics, which is a huge part of what we do. We procure the hardware, we pack the hardware, and we ship the hardware to you or directly to your customers. We manage all the warranties and the RMAs because so many of our partners tell us they do not want to have to manage hardware. So, we're doing this all within our own warehouses, which is amazing. So now we're able to immediately look at lead times in our own warehouses to get you products. A lot of times now when you're approaching some manufacturers, they'll actually send you back to us because not only do we expedite the hardware process, but then also all of the enablement that we're going to provide to expedite this streamlined process to you as well. So now we're working with these manufacturers so that you're not dealing with all the back and forth. And then we can offer additional value added services like custom kitting and custom labeling for when these sensors are sent out to your clients. And then there's the most important piece, I think, is the enablement portion. We're an enablement company, so we want to provide all the services and the training to make you successful as well. So it starts with a kickoff call with our team. That's where anybody on your side who's going to be involved in this project is going to meet with our team. So we will bring in our sensor experts, we bring in our deployment specialists, we bring in our implementation team, and we really start to understand your goals. And really the first step is, consulting on what sensors would be the best for your use cases. Because I'll be honest, not all sensors are created equally. And the cycle that people kind of get stuck in is trying out all these different sensors and finding out that they're not a good fit. And now you've wasted money and you've wasted months and months testing out these products. So we expedite that for you, and we're leveraging our experience to consult on your projects. And now we have, I want to say we're upwards of over 250 partners, and that's deployments that we're doing, hundreds of thousands of deployments that we have all over the world. So, we want to be able to kind of give that library and wealth of knowledge to you as well. And then there's training that we are going to provide on the application that we provide. There's training on the backend console tools so that you can use those to be the most successful. And we're doing this all ahead of time before you're going to market with your clients. And then we have additional professional services. So maybe you need help with an installation, or do you need boots on the ground to physically go out and install these sensors? We've got technical support for whether it be hardware troubleshooting or systems integration. And then and I don't even think I mentioned, but as far as going out and getting boots on the ground to physically install the sensors, we've got over 1,900 trained technicians that can go on site to install. And then, really the goal is that, we're going to assist with not only the providing you with software and then kind of the implementation portion, but then it's the connectivity as well. We're providing you with your own private LoRa network server, and then additional services that are needed to make this IoT business successful, providing you full enablement. So just to really summarize that, this is a streamlined IoT enablement process. If you've approached this already, you might have been in that circle at one point where you went to one of these manufacturers and purchased a piece of hardware, and immediately now, you went through months in the process of trying to figure out how to configure this device for your specific need. And so that's our goal. We're going to do that heavy lifting for you. And, we've done it before. So a lot of times it's a rinse and repeat process. So we can expedite that immediately. And now, you also don't have to worry about managing the hardware, because we're going to go ahead and have that process out of our own warehouses, sending it out to your clients or sending out to you really wherever you want it to go. And then, consulting on this as well, the entire process, kind of hand-holding with you. We're going to get a dedicated account manager who's going to be there to support you throughout every step of the way. So they'll meet with you weekly, do ongoing calls with you. They can meet with you and your clients as well. So the whole goal is that we're providing this full enablement, and we're not really successful unless you are, right? So I'm going to pause here. I want to check the chat because I know that I've been speaking for quite a while. So I want to see if there's any questions so far on this in the chat, and go ahead and drop anything. It looks like I have 2 chats here, so let me go ahead and open the QA as well. See a question here asking about the lead times on the hardware. Yes, that's a great question. So we have a lot of hardware, as you saw. We've got a huge store at this point of thousands of sensors. I would say the lead times really vary. We have some hardware that we can just we can send out same day, no problem. And then, but there's also keep in mind that we're going to configure this hardware before it goes out to you. And every, not every use case is the same, right? So we want to make it very specific to what you're looking for. So it can vary. Some sensors can be sent out same day. Some sensors can take a few weeks. Really, it's what's more important to us is that we're configuring it for your needs and your use case. I hope that answers the question. Bringing in your own hardware. Yep, that's a great question. So we can bring in any hardware that's not, if you're looking to bring in a sensor that's outside of our store. It takes about 24 to 48 hours, so it's a pretty fast turnaround time. We generally just need you to send us the app keys, WIs on the sensor, and it's quite a fast process. Or we can assist you and teach you how to do it as well on your end. So you're not limited just to set the sensors in our store. I will say though, the great thing is that because we've got access to so many sensors here, from what I've seen, we can accommodate pretty much any use case. But if there's something that you're looking for that you don't see in this store, we already have these relationships with these manufacturers where we can approach them and say, hey, this is a use case we have. We don't have a sensor for it. What do you have? And so, now they may have something that's not even in our marketplace. So it goes much further than the marketplace that you're currently seeing on our website. We really have great relationships, and the goal is that we can find any sensor, any solution for what you need. Yeah, sorry, I'm going back and forth between the Q&A and the other chat. So so I think then this chat is quite limited because of course I'm not sure if I said this thing, but I'm not able to see any of you, though you are able to see me. So I think what I would love to do is hear a little bit more about your businesses, your projects. What kind of sensor projects do you have going on right now? What are some of the things you're struggling with? What are the steps that you may be stuck on this entire IoT enablement process? So I think that would help me even more and help us to be a better service of you. But just to maybe be even more helpful, I would love to show what the first kind of 30 days of partnership looks like with us. So the first starts, what we do is we move into the space process. It starts with a kickoff call. Like I told you earlier, it's where we bring in your team, anybody who's going to be involved on the project. We have our sensor experts involved. We have our implementation team, our deployment specialists. Our CEO, Kevin, loves to jump in on these calls. And so, now we want to start understanding your goals. We want to start building your solution. And we also deliver your white label and schedule your trainings. And then we move into phase 2, where we want to run a proof of concept. So we'll send some sensors out to you, or maybe to one of your more friendly clients. And at this point, we're going to set up the alerts. We're going to start doing things like building those custom dashboards, adding users and locations. And there's going to be, we know that there's going to be a lot of back and forth on this part. We know that there's going to be a lot of tweaks that need to be made on there and a lot of configurations and things. So that's why we do this process with you, and we do it ahead of time. That way you have something that's solid to present to your clients. And then at phase 3, now that we've gone through that entire process together and we've created, the most perfect working solution, and the next step is how can we scale it and how can we grow it? So just to summarize a bit, we're offering streamlined IoT enablement for businesses and companies like yours, providing software that you can white label, integrations to get the data routed where you need it to go, connectivity and your own private LoRa network server, hardware that is plug and play ready from over 300 different manufacturers, and support from a team of sensor experts and deployment specialists, everything that you need to go to market and be successful at this point. So what I'd love to do is hear a little bit more from you. Like I said, this is such a limited chat here. So I'd love to meet with you more, and go to mydevices.com/Alex. I'd love to hear about your individual projects, and maybe speak to a little bit more, maybe make some sensor recommendations and really give some more guidance on what we can do. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining. Really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you guys on our next webinar. Hope everybody has a great day. Bye now.